Hello friends, this is Leah from the Trillium Creative. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for joining me. This is the first time I've done a video on my channel where I'm on camera, so bear with me. I feel a little awkward about this, just because I'm not used to filming myself in this format, I guess. But I have a bit of a vintage treasure. It's not really a haul, but some items that I wanted to share with you that I find valuable, I guess. As some of you may know, my grandma, Darlene, passed away recently, and she was 90 years old, and she had a very full house, as we all probably do, especially for someone of her age, I guess. She has collected many things over the years, and she's also given things to family members that were of, sentimental value, that were things that had been given to her from different, previous family members, I guess. But anyways, my husband and I went to South Dakota for her funeral, and to kind of help my parents as well as her biological daughter to kind of go through her house and just try to help sort through things and, give things to family members who might want them, and then sort out things that might need to go to donations or whatever. As we were doing that, there were a few things that I found to be treasures, or I thought were treasures, that, nobody else wanted or were, I guess, gladly gave them up to whoever wanted them. So anyways, I wanted to share some of those things with you because I think they're really cool, and I thought you might too. So I'm going to start. The reason I'm doing this format, I should say, is because a lot of the items are larger and they don't really film well top down. So I wanted to kind of share them to where you could really see them and appreciate them. So I'm going to start with some of the breakable items, really kind of like kitchen things, or sort of knickknacks, not really knickknacks, because I'm not that kind of person. I don't like to dust a lot, so I didn't take a lot of knickknacks, but there were a few things that were in her house that I either remember as a child, when I would go visit her, or I just thought were cool vintage things that I kind of collect, or would like to collect more of. So, first of all, I'm just going to show you the thing that I have right in front of me. This is vintage Tupperware. I got two of these, actually. One is red on bottom, solid red on bottom, and then I think it has the same kind of lid on the top. But they're just square containers. My parents actually have one identical to the red one that I brought home, and they use them for muffins and things, but also Christmas cookies. I just have this memory of, we always put the gingerbread cookies in that container for some reason. So yeah, Tupperware never goes bad, right? Like, it's not warped in any way. There was some masking tape on here that came off when I washed it, that had Grandma's name on it. So I think she must have probably used these for church potlucks and stuff, which is, kind of cool. So anyways, I got two of those. What next? This is a vase or vase, however you like to pronounce it. It's quite tall, And there was some discussion about it being my great great grandmother's. We, of course, couldn't confirm that because only Grandma Darlene knew. And of course, she's gone, so she can't tell us anymore. But either way, I thought it was really pretty. It's got what they call folded, I believe it's called folded glass, that is hand blown, from what I understand. And then it has this really pretty design at the bottom. It's very, I don't know, it reminds me of the 20s, the design, the 1920s. So I do like to have cut flowers in my house when I get the chance. And my husband is a very loving husband and brings me flowers randomly because he knows I like them. Yes, I am one of those women that likes flowers in my house. So anyways, I thought it was a gorgeous vase, and I knew that I would use it. So I brought that home. I also have an oil lamp, which it's too tall to even show in the camera. There were several, I can't remember the actual name, but the glass piece that goes on the top here, that comes off. There were several of those in Grandma's china cabinet, but we only found one lamp that they would go to. So I already have a couple lamps similar to this, oil lamps, that we were given from my husband's grandpa. And I just think they're really cool. My mom used to have some actually working oil lamps in our house when I was a kid, that we would use when the power went out. And so I have fond memories of that as well. I just think they're really neat. Next, I'm going to show you just a few little other glass pieces. This is just a little shallow dish, almost like a ring dish. Also, I realize now the shape of it could be a butter dish. But I don't even know what Grandma used it for, but I remember seeing this in her house when I would visit. So I don't know if it was like in the bathroom or in the guest room. I don't remember, but I thought it was a cute little design, and I figured I could maybe use it even on my craft table for something. It says it's made in Japan and it's hand painted, which you can kind of tell from the way that the flowers are painted. But anyways, I thought it was really cute. So, and I have memories of it being at Grandma's house. So another thing that I spotted that I was like, I have distinct memories of this dish at Grandma's, because she used to keep it on her dining room table with lemon drop candies in it, and that was like my favorite. So when I would go to Grandma's house, I would go pretty much straight for the candy dish that had the lemon drops in it. So it's just a little clear glass candy dish that has a little lid on it, and it's just a pretty design. It has kind of like heart shapes on the top, and yeah, so it's somewhat simple, and it's small, and like I said, I have memories of it. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is the same one. It could have been one similar that looks similar to this, but it holds some memories of Grandma's house for me. So I wanted to bring that home with me. Something else. My grandma really liked pansies, and so there were a lot of items like teapots and teacups and things like that had pansies on them. They weren't necessarily all part of a set, but they all looked similar, had similar designs. And Grandma had this habit of drinking tea every morning and or a cup of coffee. And she, at least in the last several years, she always used this cup. And it has a matching, I don't know if they actually went together, but they look very similar. And I haven't cleaned these yet, so excuse the griminess. And it's just tea stains. But here's the little tea strainer, and has a pansy design on both sides as well. So it just was special. So, and I actually love pansies as well. And I have a pansy teapot that my parents gave me when I was a teenager. So anyways, the next set of items is for the kitchen. They're a little odd. Like, I feel like not many people would like even care about them. I have not looked them up or anything. I just thought they were cool. So Grandma had told me about these. I noticed them in her cabinet when we went to visit. My husband and I went to visit her last year. And I asked her about them because they had, sorry if I'm making too much noise, but they have things printed on them. And they look like milk glass, but they're like mixing bowls. So there's 3 of them, and they all fit inside each other, but they're not all from the same place, or, I mean, they may be made by the same company. I haven't looked at that part, but Grandma said that at Christmas time, back in the day, local companies like this one is from Willard's Repair. Looks like they repaired tractors and farm equipment. And let's see if you can see that. And at the bottom, it has their phone number, and it's from McLaughlin, South Dakota, which is where my grandma lived for many years. And here's another one. Compliments of Farmers Union Oil Company, also McLaughlin, South Dakota. So what Grandma said was that the local companies would give these out as like Christmas gifts, as a thank you to their customers, the regular customers or clients. And then there's this one. So these ones are just regular bowl shape, but then there's this one that actually has a handle and a pour spout on it. And this is from the Mobridge Agency Provident Life Insurance Company. So it has that printed on there. Mobridge was another town, actually the town that my grandma lived in when she passed. So anyways, I just thought they were super cool, and I knew they were something that I would use in my kitchen. And they're sturdy, and like Grandma's had them for years and years and years, and they've been really good for cooking and baking and whatever. So there were 3 of them, and they all kind of, even though they're not from the same place, they all fit together with each other. So I just thought they were really neat, and I was like, can I take this home? And I don't know that anybody else even paid them any attention. So I have one more kitchen-ish thing. So let me grab that and I'll be right back. All right. The next thing, Grandma had a lot of cake platters, and we're not really sure why, because it's not like she made a lot of cakes or even like a lot of cupcakes to display on a cake platter. But there was all sorts of designs and materials, I guess, like glass and whatever. But I saw this one and I just thought it was really pretty. It's also that more like milk glass. But it also has a design printed on it, kind of a silvery design. And I thought the design in the glass itself was pretty. I don't necessarily make a lot of cakes either, but I thought this was cute, and it was just going to go to the donation bin anyway. So I was like, even if I don't use it for cakes, I can use it for other things. So I just thought it was pretty, and I wanted to bring it home with me. I think that is all. Well, I should say this isn't everything that I brought home from my grandma's house, but these are the special items and more vintage treasures that I thought were would be good to share with people. I do have a couple other things, I should say, that are more either paper items or other treasures, like handmade treasures. So I will set back up and I'll be back to show those items. All right. So I'm going to start with the handmade items and some crafty supplies. My, how do I want to say this? My grandma that passed away, Grandma Darlene, she was not so much into crafting. She was more into gardening and baking and things like that. She loved to be outside. And, but her sister, I think she had a lot of siblings. I'm going to say this wrong, I know, but I think she had somewhere around 9. There were 9 kids total, that's what it was. She was somewhere in the middle. And she had several sisters, and several of them liked to do crafts, whether it was sewing or crocheting or embroidery. And their mom, my great-grandmother, did a lot of hand making or, crafting. But back then, it was more of a necessity. She used to sew my grandmother's clothes when she was a child, and, all the kids' clothes. She made everything. They were not a rich family. They had a farm, and they, grew their own food and raised cattle and things like that. So they didn't have a lot, but my great grandmother sewed, and then later in life she learned how to do things like crochet and embroidery, and some of the things that she had made were still when she passed, had been handed down to my grandmother, and spread, I think, throughout the kids, my grandmother and her siblings. So there was a chest, wooden chest, cedar chest, I guess, in my grandma's house that contained several items that we know my great grandma made, and some of my great aunts had made some things in there as well. This item that I'm about to show you, I'm not going to be able to show you the whole thing because it's very large, but it's a tablecloth. I'm not sure that I would want to put it on my table as a tablecloth, but just because I find it very precious and I don't want to spill anything on it. But it's a crocheted table cover and has a lovely border on it. And it's just a really cute design. It's a somewhat simple design, but if you look, I crochet, so I know what kind of work goes into something like this. But like, I just was looking at the stitch work, and I'm like, the stitches are so, I don't know if I can show you, but they're so small and neat. And I have not made anything like this. It's just beautiful, I think beautiful hand workmanship, I guess. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but there were a few different ones in different colors, and I just really liked this one, this like kind of creamy, almost yellow, but very creamy color. And oops. Sorry, I'm knocking things off my lamp. Anyway, I just really liked it. there were a few things that were just really pretty, and I feel like because I know I know what kind of work goes into something like this, I just appreciate it more. And it's special that it was made by my great grandmother, like I don't know. I just felt like it was very precious. So I feel very lucky to be able to now call it my own. There were also a few things. There was lots of like doilies. Some were obviously machine made, and some were obviously handmade. Now, like I said, because my great grandmother crocheted, we were not entirely sure which ones she had made and which ones had been given to grandma from other people. And I also know that grandma liked to thrift shop, and she had told me that she would buy things like this at the thrift shop too. So we're not entirely sure which ones were made by great grandma, but I saw this one. It's a decent size and it's round, and it's really pretty too, and it's obviously handmade. And then there was this one, which isn't really a doily. It's more of a, I don't know what the actual name of it is, but it's got a design in it. And I don't know if there, it does show through. So see, it says Home Sweet Home, and it has the little house with the trees. And I just thought it was so cute. And so there were a few things similar to this. I'm pretty sure that my great grandma made this one, because there were several other things that had already been framed that we knew great grandma had made. Some of them were very large, like they took up like half a wall. So like there was no way that my husband and I were going to be able to bring them home. Even if we wanted to, even if we had somewhere to put it. So when I found this one, I was like, oh, like it's smaller. It's a little bit easier for me to find a place for. But yeah, I think I'm probably going to try and get it framed and maybe hang it in our guest room that we're working on. So those are the handmade items. I also got some sewing supplies. Excuse me as I take the lid off of this. But grandma had 2 different sewing boxes, and grandma didn't sew. So we think that it must have been great grandma's and or my other great grandma's. So, but we're not sure. My mom sews, and so she went through the sewing bins or sewing boxes, and anything that she thought was still usable, she kept some. And then I told her, I was like, well, I'm not going to be sewing with it, but I'm going to be crafting with thread and things like that. So if there's any old spools of thread, you can throw them in a box for me. Oh, there's a needle on that one. So there's just a few little spools of thread, some colors that I thought were pretty. And then I told her if there were any wooden spools, I definitely wanted those. And there was one that was empty. It says Coats and Clarks, sorry, made in the U.S. And then there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other ones that still had thread on them. So they're just cute little wooden spools, and I was like, they're adorable and I want them. So, and then also, I'm going to try and show. So there's a lot in here, if you can see. Thread, buttons, snaps, oh, here's a cute little metal button. Some of these I think were probably off of somebody's clothing, like the spare buttons on the clothing. Also, there was some elastic cord, which still seemed like, even just like, look at the packaging. Like, right? Just like the vintage packaging. I was trying to see if, of course, there's no date on it or anything. But this whole thing was 19 cents. See? Like, this is vintage. You know it is. This one has not even been opened. It's still got the plastic on it. And it's like a silvery white color. But there's one with black elastic on it too that we tested it out, and it still seems good. So I've been wanting to try one of those. I can never think of the actual name of them, but those journals that you can make use elastic string for the binding, and then you can just slip the signatures in and out if you want to. So I was like, well, there we go. I'll use that. And then I can find another use for the packaging too. What else is in here? Oh, we found a little pill bottle. It doesn't have pills in it anymore. With little safety pins. Like the little miniature ones. Some of them are regular size, but then there's ones like that. If you can see it, hopefully. But I was like, yes, I will use those. And just the little pill bottle is cute too. So like, look how tiny it is. I get excited over the weirdest things sometimes. So yeah, I saw those and I was like, yes, please. Mom also found this eyelet refill box. There's a bunch of other colors in there. There's even like dark blue, green, gold. Well, it's like more of a brassy color. So yeah, I use eyelets all the time. Oh, and then I just thought these were cute. I don't necessarily have a use for them. But the little metal thimbles. So yeah, just some fun things for crafting. And then the last few things I have are paper items. And excuse me, sorry. It's probably really loud. So yeah, let me get those and I'll show you what they are. Okay, so it was funny. My grandma's house has a basement. And my dad was going through things down in the basement while we were kind of going through things upstairs. And Dad came up from doing some things downstairs. He had found something and was showing to my aunt. And in his hand, he had what looked like an atlas. Or not an atlas. Well, yeah, I guess an atlas. But like one that you would hang up on the wall, right? Like a poster kind of thing. And it was a map of the U.S. And he had it just kind of like folded and kind of crumpled in his hand, along with another poster kind of map of the area that Grandma lived in. And I was like, hold up, what are you doing with that? And why did you crumple it up? And of course, my dad looked at me like I was crazy. He was like, what are you talking about? I was just going to throw this in the trash. It was hanging up in the bedroom downstairs. And I was like, no, that is not going in the trash. That is coming home with me. And I don't necessarily think that it's vintage or anything. It's just something Grandma had hanging up in the guest room downstairs. And it's just a large poster map of the U.S., like I said, but it's the really nice, it's not laminated, it's like the nice thick matte paper. And I love maps in general. So I was like, nope, this is coming home with me, and it will be used in some sort of craft project, a junk journal or something else. We'll find out. So after that happened, the next day, my husband and I came back because we weren't staying there at Grandma's house. We came back and Mom was like, oh, your dad was going through Grandma's desk and found this stack of maps that he thought you might want to go through. So I was like, yes, please. So I started going through this stack because I'm trying to be also not just be like greedy and like take everything, right? Because there may be stuff in there that I don't necessarily want. So I go through the whole stack and there was only like 3 or 4 things. The stack was like this big of mostly like road atlases, like maps that you would keep in your car kind of thing. So I ended up taking most of them. Some of them, she wrote the year. I'm assuming Grandma did this and not my grandpa. My grandpa's been gone for many years. He died when I was a kid. So I'm pretty sure she wrote, it looked like her handwriting, but on some of them, it has the year written on them. So anyway, my grandparents did a lot of road tripping, especially back and forth, because I'm originally from Washington State and they lived in Washington State for a long time too. But they would always go back to South Dakota to visit my extended family. And back in the day, we didn't have Google. We didn't have Apple Maps. Like, they were using the paper maps. So anyway, so I was super excited to see them. I'm just going to kind of flip through the ones that I got. This one was really cool. I have to show you what it looks like. I don't even know if it's right side up. But it's like this really, the paper feels really nice and matte, of course. And it has this dark blue writing and measurements and stuff on it. Anyway, I think this is the one that my dad said was for the area that my grandpa had. He had a little piece of property on a lake that they used to go camping at. But anyways, there's so many, there's Seattle maps in here. I don't even remember. Oh yeah, Everett. So if any of my family or siblings are watching, this is all like the area that I grew up in. This one's Seattle City Center. I think I have them flipped upside down. I think that's what the problem is. This one, this is the factory outlet, the outlet mall that we used to go shop at when we would go visit Grandpa and Grandma. This is just a little pamphlet. But see, look, this is one that she wrote on. 1972 edition. Like, look at that. How cool is that? And then the maps themselves just look really cool. And you see the index. So anyway, I just thought, here's Wyoming. Like, all the states pretty much. This one was from Helena, Montana. We had my dad had an uncle that lived there, I believe. And it even has like the handwritten, I'm not going to give you all the details, but it has handwritten instructions on it on how to, or directions on how to get to my great uncle's house. You know, he's long passed, but this one says 1960 census on it. Montana. Here's another Montana. Idaho and Montana. This one's from 1980. North and South Dakota. Like, even it's just like the designs on here. Like, and this is legit. This is not a replica. Like, this is the real thing. I know I'm a little crazy, but I think it's so cool. California, Greater Los Angeles. I think my dad had another aunt or uncle that lived in Los Angeles for a while. It's another Seattle. I don't know. I just think they're so cool. Texaco. There's an Oregon and Washington one. So yeah. So I have plenty of maps now, map paper for whatever travel or road tripping kind of journal I want to make. The last thing that was also in the cedar chest, where a lot of the handmade items was something that we didn't expect to find. They're very worn. They have been well loved, I believe. But they're little kids' books. They're like the classic things like Three Bears, Mother Goose. See, they're so like worn, and they're like, some of them are stapled together. They've been taped back together. But they all have Darlene with her maiden name handwritten on them. So I believe that these were Grandma's books when she was young. Tale of Peter Rabbit, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This one I'm not familiar with. Dick Whittington and His Cat. And this one's missing the cover, but I believe it is Tom Thumb. Yeah, I think it's Tom Thumb. I've got Jack and the Beanstalk and Puss in Boots. So I don't know yet what I'm going to do with these. I want to preserve them in some way, and make some sort of keepsake for them, but in a creative way. So I still need to research some ideas, but if you have any ideas, please leave them in a comment below. Or if you have seen some ideas for how to do something like that, feel free to message me on Instagram or send me the link on there. I would love ideas on how to really do those justice. And I would love to make something that's going to preserve them. I mean, I know probably they won't last forever, but I just think they're really special, and I would like to do something special with them. There's one last thing that I want to show, if I can fit it on the screen. There was one framed embroidery that was made by my great grandma that I brought home. It's a cross stitch, so I want to try and show that. But if I can't fit it on here, I'll try and take a picture of it and post it at the end of the video. So yeah, this is what I'm going to call vintage treasures from Grandma's house. Hopefully you enjoyed this. And if you did, give the video a like and a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you are interested in more kind of vintage hauls. This one's a little bit different than I normally do, because most of the time I'm finding things at the thrift store, not at my grandma's house. So anyway, if you like this kind of video, subscribe, check back. Hopefully there will be more like this in the future. And if you like any kind of paper crafting, please join me again. I like to do all sorts of things like that. Also crocheting. I haven't done a video on the channel for that yet, but I do a lot of that in my personal time. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.